All right, this is a 25,000 kilometer review of the Kask Protone helmet. This is probably one of the most popular helmets in the world, right? You see them everywhere. It retails for about $300. You can get it for about $250 off Wiggle, which is about 23,000 yen or whatever that is in your own currency. So it's a top of the line racing helmet, and I believe it's the top of the Kask range. Team Sky use this thing, as do loads of other people. So I bought this in January 2016. It was a replacement for a Kask Mojito. I'll do a review on that in a different video. So as I say, I've done 25,000 kilometers on this, and those 25,000 kilometers, a lot of those have been through extremely hot, extremely humid weather in Japan, where I've been sweating ridiculous amounts. I've really tested this thing out. So first of all, let's do an overview of how it's made. Look at how they've put it together. So in terms of construction, there's nothing really special about it. It's the same as every other helmet, really. It's an outer shell, a foam inner, and then inside you've got all the pads, and then the strap system and the rear retainer. It's the same as every other helmet. This thing, though, is very refined. So looking at the outer shell first, it's very well ventilated at the front, but it's sort of aero at the back. It is, I think, a very good balance between being well ventilated, but also aerodynamic, if you buy into all that sort of stuff, which I half do. When I put this thing on for the first time, after using a Kask Mojito for 3 or 4 years, I definitely noticed the difference. I think it was the acoustics that I noticed the difference. This thing seemed a little bit quieter, and my head felt like it wasn't fighting the wind so much. That may have been psychological, just because I had a new thing that I wanted to like. But yeah, I reckon I felt it a bit. So yeah, the first thing which I like about this is that this ventilated design, combined with the aeroness of it at the back, I think they've done a good job there. Looking at the back, it's got this large ventilated area here, large vents here. The pads on the inside, you've got this front one that sits just above your eyebrows. That's got 2 ventilated holes there, which do fuck all, really. This is the pad that sees the most sweat. Then inside, you've got these pads that sit down your head. There's another pad here and on here. Now, these pads are better than the Kask Mojito pads. Whenever I was wearing my Kask Mojito in hot weather, which was a lot of the time, this front pad here would just completely fill up with sweat, saturated, to the point where I could press on the front of my helmet and the sweat would just pour out, which is pretty funny and minging. The pads on the Protone, though, don't do that. I think Kask have improved the foam material of the pad so that it doesn't act as a sponge for sweat. So the pads on this helmet are very good. Also, I'm only on my second set of pads, despite having done 25,000 kilometers on it. In terms of usage, I ride this most days and quite hard. And whenever I get home from riding my bike, I've got this fairly OCD ritual I go through, which involves me dealing with my body and kit and then bike, all right, in that order. I get in the door, I put my bike to one side, then I take all my clothes off, stick them in the washing machine, then I take my helmet into the shower. This helmet, obviously the other one that's attached to my body, comes into the shower automatically. Then I wash this in the shower with myself. So this gets a soap and water wash pretty much every day. I scrub soap into these pads and these straps every single day. Despite that very heavy usage, they last a really long time. So these pads are fucking excellent. Replacing the pads, you can buy a pad set, which costs $15, $20. So in terms of mileage, you're looking at about 16,000 kilometers out of each of these pad sets, which is good value. Next up then, the strap system. It connects to one side of your jaw with a standard connector like that. This chin strap is a soft faux leather, I believe. I hope it's faux leather, otherwise all the vegans will be shitting themselves, won't they? This strap has been really good. On the Kask Mojito, this strap went really flaky and sort of broke apart. This thing, I mean, look, it's in perfect nick, again, despite having, such heavy usage by me. These side straps are very thin feeling, so they don't feel sort of bulky on your face. They sort of go a bit white. I mean, not with sweat, I've washed all the sweat out, but they just sort of lose their colour a bit over time. The strap comes out here, has this section here which is non-adjustable, which I thought would be a little bit of a problem, but actually it's all right, really. It's not a big deal. The adjustability comes here. and also with the rear retainer. So that's not such a big deal, unless you've got really, really misplaced ears, or you've been through some sort of reconstructive surgery after being mauled by a bear. I don't really see this being an issue for anybody. So the strap comes out here, goes down here through the rear retaining system, and then into this port here, and is held in place. This has never come out. I've never had any issues with this. It all seems very secure. It's the same on this side as well. You can see how they've stitched it all together. This stitching I thought initially might be a little bit rough on my face, but it's caused me no problems at all, so good. This rear retaining system is overall very good. It does have some issues though. Let's just explain the mechanics of it first. So it pivots in here, has a thin section that runs around here, which leads into this rear assembly here. Now this part is very good. It sits down into a recessed part of the main helmet shell, and this part here sits out so your glasses arm can go through. Now, whenever I put my glasses on, every single time I marvel at how excellent this position is and how well designed it is. Your glasses go through there really nicely. When you pull this together, this pulls in nice and tight, and when your glasses are on through here, everything feels really secure. So you can put your glasses arm fashionably over this thin strap here, and then under here, and it really locks your glasses into place. I think that's really good. The retaining system is done up with a ratchet on the back, which has remained clicky despite all the usage. These two parts sit into the back of your neck, under your skull. Now these things are the main problem with this helmet. Before I get into this, you know, this is not a major issue, but there's a few things going on with these which is not perfect. Now these are plastic, right? And they use these little rubber things that stick onto them to add a bit of softness. Now the way this works is this strap goes through this little plastic bit here, and this bit sticks on top. Now these have just fallen off. Now I've actually superglued these back on myself a couple of times, but each time they come off. So this whole idea of having the strap go through and then just something stuck on top isn't very good. This has started to come off as well, you can see here, and it's the same on this side as well. When this rubber thing falls off, it means this strap can easily come out. Now it never comes out when I'm actually riding, but when I'm cleaning it and when I hang it up to dry, whatever, this comes out. So every time I have to put the strap back into this bit. So yeah, that's not ideal. It's not a big deal, like I say, but it could be better. So these things are not perfect. In terms of actually fitting your head, they're very good. You feel like the helmet's really holding in place very well on your skull. It's got this ratchet here, this stepped line, which allows you to pull it down, you know, depending on how far your skull sits down. This level of indexing is just about right. So apart from these things falling off and then the straps falling out, nothing's really gone wrong with this. To be expected, stuff like the stickers coming off a bit. Sticker here's got a little scratch in it. This plastic or polycarbonate, whatever it might be, gets a bit sort of tarnished. If you look closely, it's just covered in micro scratches and stuff. The polycarbonate is still connected very well to the polystyrene here. Nothing's coming apart. It's all held together very well. So do I recommend this helmet? Yeah, I do. This is the only issue really. But apart from that, I would say this is exceptionally good. So there you go.